Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and I find myself drooling again. My keyboard it's really been taking a beating. I mean, the number pad isn't working. Just, kids, don't drool on your keyboard. It's really a dangerous thing. Of course, the reason for that was the Star Citizen Gamescom presentation that happened just yesterday at Gamescom 2015, and my god, was there a lot of really cool stuff shown off by CIG, by Chris Roberts and team. Just a lot of small things, a lot of things that I didn't expect. We're not going to cover everything that happened in the show. We will glance over just about everything that was discussed and announced. But I think at the forefront of that whole entire show, the thing that really took the cake was the multi-crew open world or large world demonstration that they did. That was just amazing. I mean, if you really felt like you needed to kind of just, give all of your backers a little bit of a reason to just say, hey, listen, we're working hard. We really, really are. And if you don't believe us, check this out. That was, the exact presentation to give. I think it did just that for anyone who had even a small doubt in their mind that the team was not making any sort of substantial progress. This demonstration revealed a lot of things that I was concerned about, technical issues that I was really interested to see how they were going to overcome. Still don't know 100% how they actually created what they're calling local physics for the ships, but they did it. And what that means is that you can walk around the back of a Constellation, the back of a Cutlass while it's doing a friggin' barrel roll, and as long as the ship's gravity's on, you're not going to be flying around, cracking your head, and smashing your skull into every single sharp object inside of that ship's hull. That to me was actually the biggest part of the show. As someone who saw that as a really big technical challenge, and I can't think of a game that has conquered that in the way that Star Citizen has. I mean, you can't even stand on top of a car in Halo, a Warthog, without actually being in the seat, without falling all over the place. It's just not something that's implemented in most games. Understandably, it's very important to the Star Citizen experience, so to see it working and, to see it demonstrated was actually quite amazing. Not to mention the frickin' space station that this whole thing takes place on that you're seeing right now. I've seen these revolving space stations in Elite, right, from that sort of outside perspective. So to now see in another space game that I love, this perspective of actually being on the surface of a landing pad at that station and walking around outside and seeing the scale of everything was so wonderful. I mean, it really put a huge smile on my face. It definitely activated that, I like to call it like sort of the child sense, that just pure joy that you so rarely feel as an adult sometimes. Where you really just have this really warming sense throughout your body and this huge grin. And that is exactly what the Gamescom presentation did for me. And it kind of just continued. The whole presentation just got more and more epic. They showed off the Quantum Leap mechanic, which, it's called Quantum Leap. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. It was a mechanic that I found from an audiovisual standpoint to be as satisfying as the warp jump mechanic in Elite. I love that mechanic. I love the way they did the sound for that, and it's great to see Star Citizen implementing the Quantum Leap, their own sort of jump mechanic, and having it be just as beautiful. The idea also, they made it very clear that they are trying to do that 1-to-1 scale, so they picked a moon with an asteroid belt that they were going to search for this derelict retaliator. It was like 2 million miles away. You could actually fly there. It would take about 2 hours at the speed of Arena Commander, Chris said. But luckily they have Quantum Leap, so they're able to jump there in just a few moments. And what a wonderful, just everything that was. It put a huge grin on my face. And you can see throughout the course of the demonstration, there's a lot of moments when they highlight, again, that idea of local physics. They show the crew, actual players again, climbing out of the back of the Cutlass to go ahead and EVA over to the Retaliator, going inside of it, EVAing around because there's no gravity on, switching the power on the ship back on, and making the ship active once again, just in time for a group of other players flying in Constellation to show up and engage in combat. And it was just a really wonderful demonstration of, I think, what we're going to expect from some of the earlier builds of the multi-crew portion of Arena Commander, and of course from the idea of multi-crew out in the open world. And I think that, to me, what is going to make Star Citizen so special is the focus on playing with other people, the focus on playing with your friends. And a lot of that does have to do with the fact that this isn't just a game about flying spaceships, it's a game about getting out of spaceships. It makes playing with your friends more personal. And knowing that I've got a bunch of people loaded up in the back of my Cutlass and we're going to capture a derelict retaliator in an asteroid field, like, that is the thing of sci-fi dreams. You know, the moments, the events that you just had always hoped you would be able to do with a group of friends in a game at some point in your life, and there it is unfolding in front of you, and it's wonderful. It really genuinely is, because to me, playing with friends is a force multiplier. It makes games that much better. So when you have something that has a really great framework, and you create a really good sandbox, as hopefully Star Citizen will do, and then you say, hey, you can play with like a crap load of your friends, the experience is just enhanced tenfold. So I think this was a very proud demonstration of that sort of focus of, hey, you're playing with your friends, you're going out and you're just doing all of the cool shit you've ever wanted to do in a sci-fi universe. This is what Star Citizen is going to be about. The demonstration was a great representation of that. So very exciting to say the least. Now, outside of the multi-crew demonstration, after I finally stopped drooling and cleaned the drool off of my keyboard, there was a lot of other things that were talked about at the show, right? We have the social module, which is actually going to be releasing at the end of this month, which was a lot bigger than I ever expected. I really did not expect that zone, especially for the initial build of it, to be that big. I mean, I was thinking they were just going to have a tiny little room with some weapons on a shelf. No, I mean, this is an entire, like, you know, landing area. There's shops to visit. It's huge. There's back alleys. There's a cantina, the G-Bar. You know, you can go and sit in with it, and you can dance and talk with your friends, and I'll probably shoot some videos in it, because why the hell not? It's better than standing in the hangar. So that was really cool. I was really actually impressed with the scale of all that. They also announced that when it releases, you're actually going to be able to play with other people in the social space. You'll be able to muck about. I mean, obviously there's not really any gameplay mechanics there just yet, but the idea that you could actually have 20 people in that social space is pretty freaking cool. I could see a lot of people shooting podcasts in those spaces. Just a really nice introduction, and I think a great way to finally start to pull some of these modules together. You know, it really does seem like the pieces of the puzzle are finally falling into place. Just last month, you know, CIG, Chris Robertson, all the teams, they talked about how they were going to be showing off a lot of progress over the next several months, and I think that they've done just that here at Gamescom. Now, smaller things, they talked about the FPS module. You know, we saw a little bit of it. Basically, hopefully, they're shooting for the end of next month. Hopefully, we'll see it get into PTU then. Pretty much everything in PTU seems to get tested and cleaned up very quickly these days. You know, like 1 week usually something spends in PTU, and then boom, it's outside and you know, it's in full release already. So I think that would be great to actually see FPS module drop end of next month into PTU. They need to get it out before the end of the year is the way I look at it. I think that's a very important milestone that they should actually be considering, you know, making happen. Like, hey, let's do this. Let's just make sure that we do what we need to do. Let's stop adding features. Let's polish this thing and, you know, make it ready before 2016. So here's to hoping we do actually see the FPS module next month. They also introduced some smaller things like a new sort of community hub type feature where you're going to be able to report bugs more easily and see kind of more up-to-date information on what's going on with the development team if you're somebody who really just wants to know like every little detail as to what's going on. That's just cool. You know, why the hell not? I really like the idea of making it easier for players to report bugs to. You know, a system similar to what Bohemia has had with Arma for how long is a very great system. And, you know, I think it's about time that something like that came to Star Citizen. Especially a game of this scale and of, you know, this you know, technical difficulty. I think that kind of a reporting system is just a very, very smart move. I mean, there's a lot of other small stuff that was talked about. They kind of, you know, closed out the whole thing, I think, with giving players something to actually strive for, you know, that day. And that was the announcement that, hey, we just brought out 1.6 in Arena Commander. What that means is that we've increased the difficulty of Vandal Swarm. It's 20 waves. If you reach 20 waves, and if you're one of the first 1,000 people to go ahead and finish all 20 waves, you're going to get an REC coupon to fly a Vandal Glaive. I mean, Vandal ships are easily going to be the most sought-after ships in the game, I think. There already are. There's ships that have sold insanely well on the gray market. I've seen people make a lot of money off that ship. You know, the Vandal Scythe, most specifically, is a very, very prized ship to a lot of people. And, you know, the idea that, hey, go out there, work hard, beat this new hard mode, all 20 waves, be one of the first 1,000 people to do it, and here's a reward, is really cool, because I know that we've seen Chris Roberts personally talk about wanting to give players a lot of opportunities throughout the life of Star Citizen to be the first to discover something if they work hard enough at it. And I think that in, you know, MMO larger type experiences with multiple players, that is an important thing. You look at World of Warcraft, it's always a big thing for the raid teams to be the first to beat the raid. You know, there's just a sense of reward. That's what they do. They run raids. They enjoy that kind of stuff. So to be the first at it, to claim that reward of saying that they were the first to complete that raid is very special. And I think that while it is just a very small, indirect, you know, kind of connection we're making here, that it's cool to give players the opportunity to be the first, you know, 1,000 to earn something special and unique by actually playing the game, not by spending any money. And I would like to see more of that introduced into these different modules as they're pushed to the game. You know, just give players more direct rewards. There's no reason that you can't be doing that despite the game being unfinished. So hopefully we'll see more cool stuff like that as we continue the development of SC. Gamescom to me was a pretty big win. A lot of really awesome stuff showcased. A lot of ships that people wanted to see flying. You know, not just in space, but also in multi-crew. We finally got to see the Retaliator, the Constellation. Just a bang-up job. Well done, CIG. I cannot wait to see what the next several months brings us for Star Citizen, and of course, as we move into 2016, just how well this game starts to fall into place. Let me know what your favorite piece of the Gamescom presentation was. Was it the multi-crew demo? Was it, you know, the Quantum Leap? Was it these new local physics on the Cutlass and, you know, soon to be on all these other ships? Let me know what really excited you more than anything else. And I'll see you in a place, a space and time where Jared stays on Red One.